This is what next year looks like for me. I don't ever see fans of one of these series reading the other series and talking about them as much on their channels. I'm talking about the Cosmere and Zodiac Academy. So I'm going to be reading both of these series at the same time next year. Well, sort of. I'm going to be interchanging them. The reason I can do this is because both of these megaverses are broken up into smaller sections that make it possible to switch back and forth between the two. The Cosmere is split up into 2 eras for Mistborn, as well as the Stormlight Archive, Era 1, Era 2 is not written yet, and multiple standalones. The Zodiac Academy is technically split into 3 sections: The Ruthless Boys, which is a prequel series, Zodiac Academy, and then the sequel series, Darkmoor Penitentiary. But even in those categorizing, there's a bit of splitting up. For example, it's usually recommended you read the first 3 books in Zodiac Academy and then go back to read the entire 5-book prequel Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. What a great spot in between those 2 sections to read something from the Cosmere. They're both fantasy, but they're also very different. Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere is very epic fantasy from what I've heard, and is made up of multiple series as well as standalone. The Zodiac Academy has been described as candy on paper, for example. Not the best writing, but incredibly addictive and really fun to read. The Cosmere has been described as being very dense, very epic, very well thought out, and the interconnection between worlds is entertaining for readers to try to find little Easter eggs. The depth of which this is written is just very intense and a lot. Even this first book, we're looking at over 500 pages. The Stormlight Archive is over 1,000 pages per book, so we're talking a very densely described universe. This, on the other hand, is described as being really fun, a lot of romance as a dominant component of this. From what I've heard, this is very much a romantasy type series. Also, fans of Zodiac Academy are more likely to recommend books like Butcher and the Blackbird, the Mindscrew series, and ACOTAR, as well as Fourth Wing. Whereas fans of the Cosmere are more likely to recommend things like Red Rising and Jay Kristoff's Empire of the Vampire, The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Those are more what I see when people are talking about the Cosmere as other books that they're also recommending. I love reading both kinds of books, and I think interchanging these with one another will be a great way to experience both of these extremely large series that have, I believe, over 20 books each in a fun and enjoyable way. I'll post later how I will be interchanging these 2 series. So I'm really excited for this coming year. I think it's going to be insane reading these 2 series. I feel like I'm going to complete both of them because I really do love epic fantasy. I've read Brandon Sanderson before. Nothing in the Cosmere yet, but I'm really excited for this series. But I've also read things like Butcher and the Blackbird, and I read Crave, which is also just candy on paper and kind of silly. So I do expect this to be an emotional roller coaster, but I'm totally okay if this is more the junk food of my book reading adventures, whereas this is the full course meals. But we'll see. They're huge series, so we'll see how I feel about both of them, and I'll let you know my thoughts. So that's 2026 for me.